She came into my office holding the railing with both hands. Not because the stairs were steep, because her legs had stopped trusting her. Dorothy was 71 years old, a retired school librarian from outside of Columbus, Ohio, and she told me she had started avoiding her grandchildren's birthday parties because she was afraid she wouldn't be able to get up off the floor if she sat down to play with them. Her husband had quietly moved their bedroom to the first floor 6 months earlier. She hadn't asked him to. He just did it one night while she was asleep, and she cried when she saw it, because she understood exactly what it meant. Dorothy was eating chicken every single day. Lean protein, low fat, exactly what her previous doctor had told her to do. She was doing everything right, and she was still disappearing. I am Dr. Pablo. I am a board-certified geriatrician with 18 years of clinical experience specializing in cardiovascular and musculoskeletal health in adults over 60, and what I am about to tell you in this video contradicts almost everything the mainstream health conversation is saying about protein and muscle recovery after 60. There is one food. It costs under $4. You can find it at any grocery store in America. And study after study is now showing that it rebuilds muscle after 60 more efficiently than chicken breast. Not equally, more efficiently. And it is not a supplement. It is not a powder. It is not anything with a label that costs $40 a jar. It is something your grandmother probably kept in her pantry, and the science is rediscovering it right now as one of the most powerful weapons we have against sarcopenia. The silent, progressive muscle loss that steals strength, mobility, and independence from millions of Americans after 60. I'll tell you what it is in a moment. But first I need to explain something that most doctors don't take the time to explain, and it is the reason Dorothy's chicken everyday strategy was quietly failing her. When you were 35, your digestive system was a high-performance machine. You ate a piece of chicken, your stomach flooded with hydrochloric acid, your enzymes broke that protein down efficiently, and your muscles received the amino acids they needed within a few hours. After 60, that entire system slows down. Your stomach produces significantly less hydrochloric acid. Your digestive enzyme output drops. Your intestinal transit time increases. The result is that you can eat the same amount of protein you always ate, and your muscles receive substantially less of it. The protein that isn't properly digested doesn't reach the muscle. It ferments in the gut. It causes bloating, discomfort, and this is the part that changes everything, it drives inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is the single greatest enemy of muscle tissue in the aging body. The American College of Sports Medicine has called it one of the primary drivers of sarcopenia. Here is what inflammation does mechanically. It blocks protein synthesis at the cellular level. In plain language, even when amino acids do arrive at the muscle, if the body is in an inflamed state, the muscle cannot use them to rebuild. You are delivering the bricks, but someone is tearing down the wall at the same time. You eat, you absorb some protein, and the inflammation undoes the construction. And here is the hard truth I need you to hear. Red meat, and for many people over 60, even white meat consumed in large quantities, is one of the primary dietary drivers of that inflammation. I know that contradicts what you've been told your entire life. Stay with me, because the research is unambiguous on this point, and it leads directly to the food that changed everything for Dorothy. The answer is sardines. Canned sardines. The little tin that sits on the shelf at your grocery store for $3.50. I know how that sounds. I know you were expecting something exotic, something with a clinical-sounding name and a price tag to match. But sardines may be the single most complete food available for adults over 60 who are trying to recover and maintain muscle mass, and I am going to prove that to you right now. A single can of sardines, a standard 3 3/4 ounce can, contains approximately 23 grams of high-quality complete protein. That is comparable to a medium chicken breast. But the reason sardines outperform chicken and red meat after 60 is not just the quantity of protein, it is the entire package they deliver alongside it. Sardines are one of the richest dietary sources of omega-3 fatty acids on the planet. EPA and DHA, the two forms of omega-3 that matter most to the human body, Omega-3 at this concentration is the most potent natural anti-inflammatory available to us. While red meat drives inflammation, sardines reduce it. While red meat creates the conditions that block muscle protein synthesis, sardines actively remove that obstacle. Think back to that wall analogy. Red meat delivers the bricks, but brings someone along to tear down the wall. Sardines deliver the bricks and remove the person tearing it down. That is not a metaphor I invented. That is the biochemical reality documented in research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, showing that omega-3 supplementation significantly enhanced muscle protein synthesis in older adults. And sardines deliver that omega-3 in a food matrix your body absorbs more readily than any capsule. But sardines carry more advantages than most people realize. And the one I'll tell you about last is the one that surprises even my most informed patients. So let me walk you through 5 specific benefits, because each one matters, and the 5th one connects to something far more serious than muscle. First, leucine. Leucine is the most critical amino acid for triggering muscle protein synthesis. It is the switch that tells your muscle cells to begin rebuilding. Without adequate leucine, protein arrives at the muscle, and the muscle doesn't know what to do with it. Sardines are naturally high in leucine. Every can delivers a meaningful dose of this trigger amino acid. Many of my patients have spent significant money on branched-chain amino acid supplements looking for exactly this effect, when they could have opened a tin of sardines. Second, calcium from the bones. When you eat canned sardines, you eat the soft, fully cooked bones. Those bones are a concentrated source of bioavailable calcium. Calcium that goes directly to support your skeletal structure. And here is why that matters specifically for muscle recovery. Strong muscle on a weakening skeleton is a structural mismatch. The National Osteoporosis Foundation estimates that 54 million Americans have low bone density. Sardines address both simultaneously, muscle and bone, in the same meal. Third, vitamin D. After 60, vitamin D deficiency is epidemic in the United States. The body produces less through sun exposure, intestinal absorption declines, and without adequate vitamin D, calcium isn't properly absorbed, muscle function deteriorates, and fall risk increases significantly. Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health has identified vitamin D deficiency as one of the most widespread and underappreciated health problems in older Americans. Sardines are one of the very few whole foods that provide meaningful dietary vitamin D. A single can delivers a measurable portion of your daily requirement. Fourth, digestive efficiency. I explained earlier how the aging digestive system struggles with dense animal proteins. Sardines are the exception. The protein structure of sardines is softer, more readily broken down, faster to absorb. Research comparing protein digestibility scores shows that fish protein consistently outperforms beef and chicken in older adult populations. Your body at 68 can extract more usable protein from a can of sardines than from a piece of steak that costs 4 times as much. And fifth, this is the one that changes the conversation entirely. Sarcopenia and cardiovascular disease are not separate problems. They travel together. Research published in the Journal of the American Heart Association has established that adults who experience significant muscle loss after 60 face substantially elevated risks of cardiac events. The two conditions share inflammatory pathways. They reinforce each other. The omega-3 in sardines doesn't only protect your muscles, it protects your arteries, helps regulate blood pressure, reduces LDL cholesterol, and supports healthy cardiac rhythm. The American Heart Association recommends fatty fish like sardines specifically for cardiovascular protection. So while you are eating sardines to rebuild the strength in your legs, they are quietly doing protective work on your heart at the same time. Two of the most serious threats to longevity after 60, addressed by one food that costs less than a cup of coffee. Now I need to teach you how to use sardines correctly, because there is a right way and a wrong way, and the wrong way doesn't just reduce the benefit, it can actively work against you. This is the most practical section of this video, and I want you to pay close attention. frequency first. Eating sardines once a week will not produce the muscle recovery effect you are looking for. To generate a measurable impact on muscle mass, the research supports consumption at least 3 times per week. 4 to 5 times per week is ideal. I understand that sounds like a lot, but a can of sardines costs under $4. 4 cans a week is less than $16. There is no protein supplement on the market that delivers this complete a nutritional profile at anywhere near that cost. Timing matters. The most effective time to eat sardines for muscle recovery is at lunch or within 1 hour after any physical activity. Even a 20-minute walk counts. After exercise, your muscle cells are in their most receptive state. The Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition describes this window as a period of heightened anabolic sensitivity. Your muscles are essentially open for delivery. Getting protein and omega-3 in during this window maximizes what your body does with both. Combinations amplify the effect. Sardines with lemon is not just a flavor preference. Vitamin C enhances iron absorption and amplifies the anti-inflammatory effect of omega-3. It is what nutritional scientists call a synergistic pairing. Sardines with a moderate portion of a complex carbohydrate, sweet potato, brown rice, whole grain bread, is equally important and almost universally overlooked. Amino acids require insulin-mediated transport to reach muscle tissue. Without some carbohydrate to trigger a modest insulin response, a portion of the protein you eat doesn't complete its delivery. I have patients who eliminated all carbohydrates in an effort to eat healthier and then couldn't understand why their protein intake wasn't translating to better strength. The protein was sitting in the bloodstream without a vehicle to carry it home. And now, the mistake I promised you at the beginning. The single most common error I see, and the one that turns this powerful food into something far less effective. Frying sardines. I know. Fried sardines are delicious, crispy, flavorful, satisfying. And here's exactly what frying does. High heat destroys EPA and DHA, the omega-3 fatty acids that make sardines superior to other protein sources for people over 60. The anti-inflammatory advantage evaporates in the pan. You are left with protein, but you have eliminated the differentiating factor entirely. And frying adds a layer of oxidized cooking oil that introduces the inflammation you were trying to remove. You take away the thing that helps and add the thing that hurts. The best ways to eat sardines for muscle recovery, in order. Number 1, canned sardines in water with sea salt. Already cooked, ready to eat. Omega-3 fully preserved. Add lemon juice, a little black pepper, eat on whole grain crackers or toast. Everything intact. Number 2, canned sardines in olive oil. Olive oil is itself anti-inflammatory, so it does not undermine the omega-3. Slightly higher in calories, but still an excellent option. Number 3, fresh sardines baked in the oven at moderate heat. Baking preserves the omega-3 far better than pan frying. If you have access to fresh sardines, this is a genuinely wonderful preparation. Avoid sardines packed in tomato sauce from a can. Most commercial tomato sauces contain added sugar, excess sodium, and preservatives that drive the inflammation you are working against. If you enjoy tomato, add fresh tomato and garlic at home. Keep the preparation clean. I want to take a moment and explain what is happening at the cellular level when you eat sardines consistently, because I know many of you want the science and not just the recommendation. After 60, your muscles enter a state that exercise physiologists call anabolic resistance. The muscle's response to protein signals becomes blunted. Even when amino acids arrive, the muscle's machinery responds more slowly and less completely than it did at 40. Research from the University of Nottingham, and later confirmed by teams at Tufts University, has shown that omega-3 fatty acids directly reduce anabolic resistance in aging skeletal muscle. The omega-3 essentially restores the muscle's sensitivity to protein signals. Leucine from the sardine sends the trigger. Omega-3 makes the muscle able to hear it. The protein synthesis that follows is more complete, more efficient, and more durable. That is why combining omega-3 and leucine in the same food source produces results that neither delivers independently. When Dorothy understood this, she looked at me and said, "So my whole life I was sending the right message, but inflammation had the phone disconnected." That is exactly right. And sardines restore the connection. I want to pause here and ask you something directly. Write your age and where in the United States, or anywhere in the world, you are watching from in the comments below. I read them. I learn from them. Learn. And when I see how many people this information is reaching, it tells me what to cover next. Here is what to watch for when you begin eating sardines regularly. In the first 2 to 3 weeks, the change you notice will not be in your muscles. It will be in your energy. You will wake up with less morning stiffness. You will feel less heavy through the afternoon. This is the omega-3 clearing inflammation that has been silently accumulating in your body. Inflammation that was exhausting your system around the clock. When that drops, everything improves. Energy, mood, joint comfort, sleep quality. Between weeks 4 and 6, the structural changes begin. Your legs feel firmer. Stairs require less effort. Getting up from a chair feels less like a project and more like a natural motion. Between weeks 8 and 12, the results become visible to others. People in your life will comment that you seem more energetic, that you're moving differently, that you look stronger. That is not coincidence. That is biology working correctly when it is given the right inputs. Dorothy at week 8 called my office and told my nurse she needed 5 minutes with me. I got on the phone expecting a problem. She said, "I went to my granddaughter's birthday party on Saturday. I sat on the floor and played for 45 minutes, and I got up by myself." Then she got quiet for a moment. I just wanted to tell somebody who would understand what that means. I understood completely. Before I close, I need to be medically responsible with you. If you have elevated uric acid or a history of gout, sardines contain purines that can aggravate those conditions in some individuals. That doesn't mean you cannot eat them. It means you should have that specific conversation with your physician about appropriate quantities. If you take anticoagulant medications, particularly warfarin, high omega-3 intake can potentiate the blood thinning effect, and your INR needs monitoring. Please speak with your doctor before significantly increasing your sardine intake. And if you have a fish allergy, this food is not for you. Stay until the end, because I will point you toward an alternative. What I want you to understand, beyond the nutrition science and the biochemistry and the clinical studies, is what muscle loss actually costs. It is not an abstract health metric. It is the bedroom moved to the first floor while you are sleeping. It is avoiding a birthday party because you are afraid of the floor. It is the slow, quiet contraction of the life you built. Sarcopenia takes that in silence, day by day, and most people don't recognize it until the losses are already significant. A can of sardines will not reverse everything overnight. But consistent use, 3 to 4 times a week, combined with any form of regular movement, even 20 minutes of walking, even seated resistance exercises, creates the biological conditions for your muscles to rebuild. At 65, at 71, at 78. The research is clear that this is possible at every age. Your body has not stopped listening. It just needs better signals. If this video gave you something useful, share it with someone who needs it. A parent, a sibling, a neighbor who you've noticed is moving differently than they used to. Sometimes people don't know what is happening to their body, and they don't know that there is something this accessible they can do about it. You can be the person who tells them. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Every week I bring you evidence-based information designed specifically for the body after 60, not generic health advice recycled from content written for 30-year-olds, but clinical knowledge that accounts for how your physiology has actually changed and what it actually needs. And if sardines are not an option for you, fish allergy, dietary restrictions, simply not your preference, in the next video, I am going to cover a plant-based seed that contains more protein per gram than most cuts of meat and carries its own anti-inflammatory properties. You will not want to miss it. Dorothy put her hand on my arm when she left that last appointment. She said, "Tell other people what you told me." That is what this channel is for. Take care of your muscles. They are not just tissue, they are your independence. I will see you in the next one.